What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for another review for 90 Day Fiancé Love in Paradise. And this is the season finale. I hope it's not a series finale because this last episode just made me want more from these people. I want to see what the next chapter holds for these couples. So I hope that TLC is going to be bringing the show back for another season. So let's start off with Martine and Steven. So we're starting off where we left off, which was at the beach when it looked like he was going to propose to Martine. And he did exactly what I was hoping he wouldn't do, which was to not even propose. So basically, to put it all in a nutshell, because there's no need to drag it out, he told her that he had bought a ring, that he was 80% sure he wanted to propose to her, but he ended up realizing that they were not ready because with all the arguments that they had in the past few days, they need more time to work some stuff out. But he was wanting to propose to try to keep her in his life because he thought that she was going to give him an ultimatum: either we get married or I'm out. So that's why he was going to propose. Not really because he felt like the time was right for them to get married, but just out of fear of losing her. So when he tells her that he's not going to propose, she's actually relieved about it. And she says, you know what, I realized too that we're not ready to get married, and I was putting a lot of pressure on you, and I don't want to do it like this. And she said that she would really also, when the time is right, she would want him to meet her father and I guess ask her father for her hand in marriage. Well, she didn't say that, so I'm not gonna go after her for trying to be very traditional when she's anything but that. So I'm not gonna say anything about that because she did not say to ask for her hand in marriage. All she said is that she wanted him to meet her dad. Now, side note, when there are people out there who are doing all kinds of things that are not traditional, and I'm not traditional. I don't care about traditional value. I don't care about none of that. People do whatever you want to do, but don't be contradictory. So when there are I hate it when I see people who are, you know, they're having children and they're not married, and they're sleeping together and they're not married, and they're doing all kinds of things, but then when it comes to certain parts of the relationship, all of a sudden they want to be very traditional. You're just like, oh, I need you to ask for my father's hand in marriage. So I thought she was going to say that, so I was going to be like, okay, this is a very untraditional relationship, so what are you talking about? But that's not what she said, so I'm gonna let her live. So she's relieved. She's relieved that he didn't propose to her because she doesn't think they're ready, and he's relieved that she's still willing to continue the relationship without having to be married. So they've decided they're going to have a long distance relationship, and they've also decided that they are going to, at some point, they're going to live together because they need to know how compatible they really are on a day-to-day basis. Martine really wants to see how this relationship is going to work out once they actually are seeing each other every day and living together every day. Because it's one thing when you're seeing each other once or twice a year, and it's something completely different when you are in each other's faces 24 hours a day. So they're both cool with how things worked out. She has to go back to the United States. The day that she's supposed to depart, he was going to take her to the airport, but because of the COVID curfew in Barbados, he cannot take her to the airport. So he had a driver come pick her up. So they have their tearful goodbye. And so with Martine and Steven, the way it's going to end is they're going to try to make arrangements to finally be together in one location, either Barbados or Miami. She's willing to move to Barbados if that's what it takes. I'm assuming he's willing to move to Miami. He's a DJ, so moving to Miami should be like a great thing for him on his resume, to put on your resume that you were DJing in the hottest clubs in Miami. So yeah, he needs to move to Miami. He needs to get on that, even though Barbados is very, very beautiful. Miami is too. So that's where we are with Steven and Martine. Let me look over my notes to make sure that I didn't miss anything of value. Oh, so when they were on the beach and he told her that he wasn't going to propose to her, he asked her, "Do you want to see the ring that I bought you?" And she said, "No, no, no, I don't want to see it." And he was like, "Why not?" And she says, "Because if I see it, then you're going to have to buy me another one." So she wants to have that whole element of surprise when he does finally propose to her. And I hope that everything is going to work out for them. Either they decide to be together and eventually get married, or they decide to amicably part ways, because they're really good people who just had a couple of bumps in the road in their relationship, like every other relationship. So either way, I hope it works out for them. And I really want to see them again next season to see, exactly what happened. Did she go to Barbados? Did he go to Miami? Did he end up giving the ring to someone else? Did he end up giving the ring to her? Or what happened? I'm really curious to know. So that's where we end with Stephen and Martine. Ariana and Sherland. Okay, I don't know if I'm ready for this because this is a lot. Let's move on to Kay and Mark. So, Kay and Mark. Now, Kay and Mark. This was a beautiful scene. Kay had been telling Mark that she wasn't ready to settle down, that she wanted to be free to do whatever the hell she wanted to do. She doesn't want to be in a monogamous, committed relationship. She's free as the wind. She wants to fly like a bird and do whatever she wants to do. And he wanted her to commit to him. He wanted her to move to LA with him. He wanted something more stable. So they decided that they were going to, not in this episode, but in the previous episode, I thought the decision was that they were going to just, play it by ear. He was going to go back to America. She was going to stay in Bocas, and they were just going to play it by ear and see how it works out. Because his plan was that I'm going to let her be free. I'm going to let her be and do whatever she wants to do because I love her that much. I love her enough to let her go so she can be happy. And then maybe when the time is right, she'll come back to me. Well, honey, she came back to him before he even left Bocas. Because at the airport, when they were saying their goodbyes, they're kissing, they're hugging, they're crying. It's a very, tearful goodbye. And you can tell they don't want to let each other go. And they're very both extremely emotional. And she keeps, telling him, "I love you." He's telling her, "I love you." Then she flips the script on us and she says, "Mark, I'm in love with you." And I was like, "What? Miss K, you're in love?" Because she had said previously that she was not. She told him to his face, "I am not in love with you. I can't love you the way you want me to love you." And it's like in 24 hours, she completely changed. And now she said that she's in love with him. And in her confessional, she's like professing her love for him. She's saying that she cannot live without him, that she is so glad he came back into her life, and she doesn't want to let him go again. So she flipped the script on us and she was like, "Yeah, I'm in love with you." So what they've decided to do is they've decided to have a long distance relationship. They're still going to have to play it by ear because they have to work out the kinks and the logistics of it all. They didn't talk too much about her possibly moving to LA or him returning to Bocas. So I don't know how that's going to work out. So I need a season 2 TLC, pretty please, with sugar on top, a season 2 so we can see how things worked out with Kay and Mark. But it ended with her saying, "I want to be with Mark. I am in love with Mark." And I'm just like, who are you? And what did you do with the real Kay? So Mark basically got what he wanted. I mean, he was willing to be as patient as he needed to be, but all he had to do was just wait one night because the next morning she was head over heels in love with him. So hopefully things will work out for them as well. Of course, I want to see them together. Whatever. So hopefully they'll come back. Please, TLC, give us a season 2. And she just had nothing but glowing things to say about Mark. She said that he doesn't judge me. He accepts me for who I am, which is 100% the truth. Because he had to really work on himself to let her go. And he did. And she came back to him. So that was really beautiful. I was kind of hoping, y'all, that at the airport when they were saying their goodbyes and after she said, "I'm in love with you," because they panned the camera to the window where you could see, I guess, his plane was arriving. And at that moment, I was like, "Mark, don't get on the plane. Don't get on the plane. Stay in Bocas with Kay. Don't get on the plane." But he ended up getting on the plane. So we'll see how that worked out. Well, we didn't actually see him get on the plane. We just saw him go up the stairs. So it'd be beautiful if season 2 started off with him coming right back down the stairs and running into Kay's arms. Moving on to Daniel and Amber. Because y'all, I gotta like emotionally prepare myself for Ariana and Sherland. Daniel and Amber, this was like a really short little scene, nothing much going on here. Amber's getting ready to leave. She's packing up her stuff, whatever, whatever. We all know that Daniel got approved for his visa, so they just have to do a couple more things and then he's on his way to Florida. So, in the kitchen, his brother David is there, and his brother, well, Daniel is not leaving, only Amber is, but because of the fact that he got approved, the brothers know that their time together now is really short. And Amber, thank God, realizes this and how much Daniel is sacrificing for her, because he's going to be leaving his brother behind, he's going to be leaving his mother behind. And so she understands this, and she said that she would support Daniel in trying to bring his family over to Florida. Now, I'm a details kind of person, even though sometimes I miss a lot of them. I'm a details kind of person. So I heard her say that she would support Daniel in bringing his brother. She didn't say anything about his mother. I'm only going to assume that she's going to be okay with the mother coming as well. So I'm glad that she's willing to do that, to help David come over as well. And that's wonderful that she's kind of had this change of heart. She was just really stressed out about, him not getting the visa. And I guess that's why she was, acting up in the previous days. Okay, so they're on their way to the airport. They're in the car, and she's already given him a to-do list. Well, you got to do this, and you got to do that. You got to remember to do this, remember to do that. Just on and on and on and on. And I'm like, Amber, the person would, even the person with the world's best memory cannot remember all the things that you want this man to do. Why don't you email it to him or text it to him or write it down for him? Because she's like very detailed stuff that she wants him to do with the dog and what himself and whatever else. She's kind of annoying with all of her honey-do list and to-do list and do this and do that and do this and do that. It's kind of getting on my nerves, but this is the last season, so I'm gonna have a break from Amber. So he's already like, oh my God, on the way to the airport, she's already giving me a list, da 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 da. And yeah. So good luck with that, Daniel. So they say their goodbyes, and we definitely need a season 2, like I've said before, for this couple, because I want to see how life will be when Daniel finally moves to Florida. And hopefully Amber would have toned down her motherly ways with him and, cut the list down a little bit. So that is Amber and Daniel. Let's move on to Ariana and Sherland. So with Ariana and Sherland, okay, we had a little scare. 2 weeks after she returns back to the United States, back to Illinois, Quincy, Illinois, Ariana goes into labor, and it is preterm labor because she's not due for another 3 months. So she has to go to the hospital. They have to monitor her very closely. They found that there was, did they say enzymes? There were enzymes, they found enzymes in her liver, and she was developing mild preeclampsia that could potentially get worse. So of course, I don't wish ill on anyone, especially when it comes to their health and their baby, but I just couldn't help but wonder a tiny, tiny bit if this had anything to do with the stress that she put herself through with Sherland, because she needed to just chill out and relax, but she was just so stressed out about this relationship and all the crap that she went through with Sherland. And I hope stress is real, people. Stress is real. Stress is so real. It leads to a lot of health complications. It is very important that we learn how to be stress-free as much as possible. We can control our diets, we can control our activity levels. We also need to control our stress levels, because it doesn't make any sense. That's why you'll see people who are like in the, about the prime, in complete perfect health, and they jog every day, and next thing you know, they had a heart attack, and they're only like 40 years old. They're probably stressed out about work or stressed out about their marriage. We need to reduce our stress levels. I'm a really big proponent of that. So anyways, I'm not saying that stress led to this, but I'm just speculating. She probably had a horrible diet. Maybe this is just what it was meant to be. I don't know, but I didn't like to see her as stressed out as she was when she was pregnant. So she's FaceTiming Sherland. She's telling Sherland all the stuff that's going on. And of course, Sherland is very worried about her. And then 24 hours after she's admitted into the hospital, they have to perform an emergency C-section. So the baby is born on January the 27th, 2021 at 4:41 a.m., 3 pounds and 3 ounces. So needless to say, he was rushed to the NICU. And when they showed him in his incubator, he looked like a fighter. I saw that baby and I was like, that baby's going to make it through. That little boy is a fighter. That boy looked really strong. Even though at 3 pounds and 3 ounces, that boy looked super duper strong. And I knew he was going to pull through. So also, there was a knot in his umbilical cord. So if she wasn't in the hospital for monitoring, she probably never would have known that there was a knot in her umbilical cord, and it could have been a whole lot worse. So thank God for medical intervention. So Ariana was a little scared, because she has this preemie now that she has to take care of, and she was not anticipating this at all. So he was going to be in the NICU until he was able to gain weight, until he was able to eat and breathe independently, before he could be released to go home. And they wanted to keep him there until his expected due date. So I'm assuming he had to be there for about 3 months or so, maybe two to 3 months in the NICU if they're going to keep him there until, his expected due date. So they decide, she goes ahead and she decides to name the baby Odin. And she says that because her issue was, she had told Sherland that she would not give the baby his name unless he came to the United States. Well, because the baby came so early, he didn't have a chance to come to the United States. So she went ahead and gave the baby the name that he wanted. First name Odin, and also the baby was going to have Sherland's last name as well. And so that was really nice of her. If she's happy, we're happy. And so Sherland is happy that the baby got the name that he wanted. And he said, because I am a Viking, I am descended from Vikings, and it was important for my baby to have a Viking name. And he said that his great 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 grandfather was from Scotland, who was shipwrecked in Jamaica. And so those are his people, that is in his bloodline, and he wants to pass that on to his son. Moving on from that. So next time we see Ariana, Odin is home. He came home and he's a good whopping 11 pounds. She says that even though he was home, they still had a couple of more bumps in the road. He had a hernia, he had a stomach infection, he had a blood transfusion. So the little man was a fighter. This child was determined to make it through. He survived being preterm. He survived all of these issues. He survived the NICU. Baby is home, looking beautiful, healthy, gaining weight. Just a wonderful, wonderful ending to a very, I'm pretty sure traumatic event for Ariana. So Sherland still wants to do the tourist visa. He's not trying to hear nothing about no K1, no sirree Bob. Not him, not I. He said that he is not ready for no damn commitment, not with Ariana, not with anybody else. He wants to be free as a bird. So Ariana, she's okay with that. She's like, okay, whatever. I just need you here. So what's going on with the tourist visa? What are you doing with the paperwork? What are we doing? We need to make this happen. Are you filling out applications? Are you scheduling interviews? What is happening? And he keeps giving her the same old song. Hey, the embassies are closed. What do you want me to do? They're closed, they're closed, they're closed. They're not taking any applications. I can't even give them any money to do anything because, the lawyer or somebody told him not to. And so he's like, I can't do nothing. The embassies are closed. And so she's like, well, who's telling you all of this? And he says, it's on the website. And I'm like, okay, so I don't understand why Ariana isn't checking the website as much as he is, if he even. I'm just saying, Ariana, are you looking at the website? Are you looking at the website as well to verify that what he's saying is even true, or are you just going by his word? So their embassy is very backed up, whatever. So her mom, she's living with her mom, and she says she's probably going to be living with her mom long term. She says probably for more than a year, because her mom is basically helping her a lot with the baby. And the mom, she has no problem with this at all. Obviously not. This is her daughter. This is her grandson. She has no problem with Ariana living with her, but she needs Sherland to step up. We don't care that you live in Jamaica. We don't give a damn about none of that. We don't care about no COVID. We don't care about no embassy issues. We need you to do something for your child. So she's telling her daughter, okay, is he actually doing anything with the visa? Like, what's happening? And she's like, yeah, he's working on it. And the embassies were closed. And the mom is like, okay, so do you think he really wants to even be with you in a relationship, or is he just going to be coming for Odin? And she's like, well, he always tells me he loves me, and he tells me he misses me. And it breaks my heart to hear Ariana say this. Now, Sherland might flip the script, and he might show up on her doorstep one day with the K1 visa in his hand, ready to get married and ready to propose to her. I don't know. But the way things are looking, it seems like, she's just like, when she's talking to him, she's kind of hard on him, but then to her family, she always wants to make him look better than what he is. And I don't know if she thinks that her family will judge her if he looks like a bum or if he looks like someone who's just not interested in doing the right thing. So it's a reflection of her. And that's why it's really important for her to always paint him in a really positive light to her family. But with her mom, she's like, oh, yeah, he tells me he loves me. Da, da, da. But then face to face, she's like, okay, so who told you that? How do you know this? Are you doing anything? So I'm like trying to understand, anyways, Ariana. Okay, let's move on. So her mom, Miss Karen, seems to have a lot of doubts about Sherland and whether or not he wants to be in a relationship with Ariana, or even if he's even trying to come to the United States. And her mom tells her basically, you probably need to kind of move on. You have a life to live here. You can't be waiting on Sherland. And I've been telling Amber this Ariana this since day one. Girl, don't worry about no damn Sherland. Do what you got to do for you and your baby. Stop with the Sherland. She just needs to kind of like close that chapter and just move on. Yes, it would have been great if the father was, there to help you raise this. We understand what you want, what you were praying for, what you were wishing on a star for. We get it. But if it's not happening at the pace that you want it, then just move on. Tell Sherland, hey, look, it's really about our son. If he can make it, great. If you can't, see you when I see you. Turn off that Zoom meeting and move on. That's what I really wanted to do. I was like, I don't know if Ariana is like in love with Sherland and that's why she wants him to come so bad, or is she in love with the idea of having a relationship with someone, and because she has a baby with him, she wants it to be with him. But she's just in love with the idea of being in a relationship, or in love with being in love. I don't know how it goes, but like living in some kind of fantasy world, but not really living in reality and realizing what's what. So she says that she loves Odin enough for the both of them. Oh, and then when she FaceTimes him with the baby, she holds the baby up to the camera or whatever so he can see his son. And, she's like, who's that? Is that daddy or is that a stranger? And I was like, here we go. You see, she's got those moments of clarity. When she's one-on-one with him, she's got those moments of clarity. Like she realizes the BS he's on. But with her family, she tries to make him look like, he's some kind of Prince Charming. And so when she said that, he was like, hey, don't feed that information into my son. And he says, I will move mountains for him. And then Ariana was like, okay, like coming to the United States, would you do that for him? And he was like, of course. But we don't see you hustling. We don't see you bustling, Sherland. We don't see nothing. The embassies are closed. Nothing's happening with it. I thought when they went to go talk to the immigration specialist that she had shed some light on some things to get some things started, but I don't know. Anyways, so what else am I missing here? So Sherland talks about, the delays of the embassy, like I mentioned before. Seems like, she kind of is doubting him. And he has no idea when the embassies are going to open up again. And so what their plan is, and I definitely need a season 2 for this. What their plan is that in 6 months, she's going to go back to Jamaica with the baby. And because she says it's not my son's fault that, this situation is happening. So, she can't deprive her child of being with their father. So she's going to take the trip to Jamaica. And I hope she's not going to take her family with her, but she's going to take that trip to Jamaica so he can be with his son. And then she says, when we get there, it's going to be really hard for you to say goodbye to him. And he was like, yeah, I bet it will be. Yeah. So this is like a really sad, Ariana's story is the saddest story of all because the baby's involved and she's a new mom. And then the very last scene of her, she's at the park by herself with her baby, and she's sitting on she's sitting on the bench all by herself, and her baby's on her shoulder and she's patting his back, and it's just like this forlorn princess who's just forever waiting for Prince Charming to come and bring her happiness. She's just forever waiting, and he's just in Jamaica chilling and not worried and not hustling for nothing, and more worried about his friends' lights getting turned off than he is about getting to the US to see his baby. I need a part two. I need a season two. I need a season two. But anyways, that is my review of Love in Paradise, 90 Day Fiance, Love in Paradise, season finale. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for a season two. I'm so glad that I did this show from beginning to end. It was good. It was interesting. I want more. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you made it this far, I appreciate you more than you'll ever know because you took your time to spend with me, and I appreciate that. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will definitely be talking to you later. Bye.